Hi guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Nuggets News. In this video I want to cover the third in a series of healthcare related projects, and that's Project Shivom. Now these guys are building the world's largest genetics data bank and platform to leverage all that genomic data once they've collected it. So they want to give the power back to the individual. So if you choose to have your genome sequenced, you can choose whether or not to donate to all these different healthcare industries, research institutes for drug development, and you can monetize your genetic data whilst having control over that as well. So this is very exciting for me to see as a pharmacist. It was only 6 years ago when I graduated that they were talking about the next wave of medical innovation is going to come from precision medicine that's tailored to your individual genetic makeup. So Project Shivom is building this ecosystem on top of the blockchain. We know the benefits that offers, but also an open marketplace for healthcare providers to build their apps and services on top of, alongside all this data analytics that's going to be possible, and start to build that personalized medicine that I spoke about. So breaking down all these individual siloed industries and companies, accelerating clinical trials, facilitating that drug research and development, and also sponsoring individual sequencing projects. So if we know there's a certain demographic or country or age group that we need to get more data from, they can sponsor that and accelerate the building of that data bank. So what is genomics? So the study of DNA and all the information that we can extract from that. So we know that people are interested in their ancestry and what diseases they might be susceptible to. And what we're finding now with more information as it comes out is that the old saying of, oh, it's in my genes, that doesn't really hold true. So there's a whole study of epigenetics and how environmental factors, diet and lifestyle will make your genes more likely to be expressed or more likely to have that disease if it's in your genes, more so than just, oh, I'm going to get that because it's in my genes. So this stuff's very interesting. Obviously, we can make specific drug treatments. Two people that have the same drug at the same dose can react very differently because of their genetic makeup. So often in the real world, it's a matter of going back and forward from the doctor and changing drugs or doses. Whereas once we have your genetic makeup, we know that a drug is going to react differently. So your pharmacology, your pharmacokinetics, that's all right there in front of us before we start to give treatment. And we can say, oh, you're only going to need 10% of the dose compared to the average person because you don't have this enzyme, and those sort of things become possible. As I said, this is very exciting for me as a pharmacist to look at what becomes possible once we have all this precision medical information. So the challenge here is to break down all these siloed individual industries to let all this information reach its full potential. Currently, a lot of this information is held by untrusted third parties. They sell that to the big pharma and institutions, and they make millions of dollars without us knowing. And then we often end up paying more down the line because it goes through all these different middlemen. So this also holds true for the price of sequencing an individual genome. So the first ever genome took 13 years and cost $3 billion to do. That's already fallen to below $1,000. In the next couple of years, that's going to fall to below $100. So at that price point, it becomes very worthwhile to sequence millions of people because of the value that we can extract from all that data once we have it. This is the same for gene editing. So we're already living in the future, guys, where we can individually chop specific DNA base pairs to erase certain genetic conditions. This used to cost $5,500 per DNA base pair in 2013. Now through CRISPR technology, it's already down to $30 per base pair and forever getting cheaper as well. So we live in the future, guys, where we can already edit our DNA. So what solutions is the Shivom platform going to provide? So decentralizing all this data on a blockchain so it's securely owned by the individual donor. You've got the private key, okay? You control your data. Patients can choose what they want to contribute to. They can get incentivized directly for donating to different studies and research. This is going to be the single largest repository of genetic data in the world, guys. Whole genome tests are also going to be subsidized over the platform to help encourage that mass adoption and building up that database. But that app marketplace and the sharing economy, that whole ecosystem that surrounds this hub of genetic information, once we've got it, is what's probably most exciting. So here's a great article by one of the co-founders, Axel Schumacher, about how blockchain technology is a great use case for building such a large genetic data bank. Now, this is already happening around us. So a number of countries have proposed that they're going to sequence their citizens here, but the data collection is outpacing security. Now, we know that blockchain technology is a great way to sort of share medical records or any information whilst maintaining privacy, security, and that anonymity. When you've got your personal data, but it's hashed and it's encrypted on the blockchain so that nobody else can decrypt that information without you saying so. So that's really empowering the individual, which is always exciting to see, unlocking the power of data and blockchain technology to bring about the next wave of healthcare revolution, as we said, for all these rare diseases, tailored drug treatments, and ultimately more detailed medical research than what we could otherwise do when we go out there in clinical trials and find a large number of healthy young people. We can start to do research on specific data sets for those people that are happy to contribute. So here's that Shivom ecosystem, all centered around this genetics data bank hub. We've got the patients that can contribute. Big Pharma is going to pay top dollar for all this valuable medical information. Those developers building apps and the marketplace to tap into all of this as well. And then already a number of large organizations have partnered with this project, which I'll talk about. So the team, I met Axel and Henry when they were in Australia. I interviewed them. Check out that interview if you want. But 20 years research, the team's forever growing. There's some great interviews on YouTube, guys. So Sally Eves here did a great TED talk about India, where they're already having big inroads there. There's a number of interviews with Henry and Axel on YouTube to check out. The team's growing rapidly, and what excites me most is this innovation council. So some of the people on here, you know, the father of telemedicine, Dr. Saunders. So they've got some seriously experienced people. I know just today they announced that the Prime Minister of Estonia has joined this innovation council. So there's big names, there's plenty of experience. I think anyone that sort of reads about this project knows that this is very exciting, once in a lifetime sort of stuff, if they can pull this off. So how does the OMX token fit into all this ecosystem? So the key component that enables all the buying, trading, incentivizing, access to services, the fuel of the entire Shivom ecosystems, as well as a governance component of the system. So access to premium services, we know that big pharma and research institutes are going to pay top dollar. You know, the ability to acquire those genome sequencing saliva kits that you'll receive in the post, sponsor sequencing projects, all those different apps that are going to be developed by the third parties, access the genome database, pay for donor data, participation in research studies, and a full range of other services on the platform. So this is going to be an integral part of the platform here. This is all from the pitch deck, guys. Check out the white paper as well, but this is the detailed breakdown of how the ICO funds are going to be used. At current Ethereum prices, they're trying to raise about $35 or $40 million, and how they're going to use those proceeds as well. So the white paper is very long. It's 60 pages. It goes into great detail. If you want more information, I strongly recommend you check that out. So here's a few of the exciting announcements they've had. So Andhra Pradesh, India, a state in India, adopting blockchain technology for DNA sequencing of their citizens. So this is a deal that they've already penned here, to sequence up to 60 million people. So 23andMe have already sequenced about 1 million people. I think there's another company, Ancestry DNA, have done about 4 million people. But globally, worldwide, there's only been 10 million people ever have their genome sequenced. So the Shivom's first project here within the next few years is going to sequence 60 million people and make them the biggest genetics data bank in the world. So this is really exciting stuff. They will be the biggest in the world if they pull this off. And again, that individual gets that private key where researchers can't decrypt that information unless you choose to do so through their wallet. Another great partnership here with an Australian listed company, Genetic Technologies Limited. They're also NASDAQ listed. So these guys specialized in molecular diagnostics, particularly non-hereditary breast cancer. So these are the sort of companies that we want to continue to see Shivom partner with, so that if you want to know if you have any diseases, you can get told straight away that, hey, you have this gene that makes you more susceptible to this disease. Now, this brings up a broader philosophical question about some people don't want to know, like, what if we get to the point where we know, the age that you're most likely to die and that sort of thing. So it was great to chat with Axel and Henry about all this. Some people don't want to know this stuff. Some people want to know everything about their health. And all it does is give you the option. So you can choose how much, how little you want to know, how much you want to participate with research and medical development, and you get monetized, incentivized to do so. So for more information, guys, I've got that detailed white paper, as I said, a pitch deck and executive summary if you want to check those out. I did participate in this private sale. It's still open for the next week. If you are part of a group or a pool where you can get 100 ETH together, the guys said they're happy. They've had great response from Australia. So let them know that you've watched this video, guys, or that you're interested. I'm sure they can get you in. If not, the public sale will start once this closes. So I haven't seen many YouTube videos at all about this project. I don't think it's on the radar of many people. So you might be able to easily get involved in that public sale if you want to register for the ICO. So competition, as I said, Ancestry DNA, 23andMe, these guys already have large market valuations for the number of people they've sequenced. But Shivom don't really view these as competition. So if you've already had your DNA sequenced through another company, you can still contribute to their data marketplace and get incentivized to contribute to healthcare studies and so on. So they're more focusing on, once we have all this data, all the services and the ecosystem that go with it, rather than just it being a sequencing based company. So healthcare is $1 trillion industry. We know all these medical research firms and marketplaces in the multi-billion dollars. There's room for more than one DNA sequencing company, but I certainly think the value that can be extracted from that data once we have it all really is unprecedented. So what do you guys think? Does this sort of encroach on privacy and we're living in that futuristic totalitarian world? Or are you happy if this is all securely stored, encrypted on a blockchain? This is going to benefit mankind, the future of medicine and research and medical innovation. I'd love to get your guys' thoughts below. So I hope you've enjoyed this presentation. Please hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, share these videos around, and as always, thanks for tuning in, guys. Cheers.